The real estate industry actually leaves agents and others that work in our industry vulnerable consistently all the time, just because of the nature of the industry. So,
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to The Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh, and joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with another top producing real estate professional, Nicki Seagraves. How are you, Nicki?
hey, Kevin, I'm absolutely wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine myself. Thank you so much for asking. We appreciate that. So we are here to talk about real estate, more specifically talk about real estate in your market. But before we get into that, I kind of like to take the time to, get to know our guests on a different level. So in 60 seconds or less, Nicki, can you tell us who you are outside of real estate?
I can, absolutely. I am first and foremost, I'm a mom and a partner. I have fur babies. I'm a dog lover. I love the outdoors. I actually grew up in Indian River County in Vero Beach, Florida. So I love the Florida weather. I love the outdoors. I love
Mm.
the sea, sand, salt, sun. All the way. I absolutely love it. Love to kayak, love to focus on fitness and yeah, hiking, all of that kind of stuff.
Nice, nice. Sounds like a very fun life outside of real estate. Generally, yeah. And you get to soak up the sun and whatnot. That's pretty nice. Okay, so Nicki, let's talk about a little bit about your profession, your real estate profession. I just kind of want you to describe your business model and what you've been doing and how long you've been doing it. So, how would you describe your business, your business model, and can you tell us how long you've been licensed also?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been licensed 4 years, and I came into real estate always with the intention of helping friends, family members, clients, strangers, anybody who wants to get into real estate, buy, sell, invest. I've always kind of dove into the profession as my number one goal is to help people. So that's really
Mhm.
been my business model. Not forgetting about the ethical side of real estate, not forgetting about creating, um, not just a profession, but creating relationships with new people
Mhm.
and maintaining the relationships that I have with people that I already know. So,
Okay. Okay. Good. And it seems like it that just pretty much explains you being a people person, making connections, building those relationships, being belly to belly in the streets, essentially what they say. So that's good that you have that in mind in your business model. So let's run into where you do your business now. I want you to describe your current market that you serve, and this is a two-part question. I want you to describe it geographically. So just give the notable landmarks, city, state, local areas, things of that nature, things to do, what your city is famous for, or market, and then get into some of the economics, like what's going on real estate wise, if you have any data or statistics or numbers for us.
absolutely, absolutely. So this is I live on the Space Coast. So we've all heard of NASA. We've all heard of Elon Musk,
Mm-hmm.
SpaceX, Blue
Mm-hmm.
Origin. So that is Brevard County. It's the Space Coast. So some other landmarks that some people may know of. Cocoa Beach is a big tourist attraction, which is here, and then also because I am from Indian River County, which is the county that's just south of here. I also
Mm-hmm.
service that county because that's where I grew up, and that's also known for the Treasure Coast. So that's where a lot of the
Mm.
uh, the ships from way back in the day. They crashed and sunk, and it's known for the Treasure Coast for that exact reason. So that
Oh
is
wow.
yeah, that's the area that I service as far as, what's around. There are so many people moving to this area. I know a lot of other markets in the United States are maybe not, continuing to see an increase in volume. But just because
Mm-hmm.
of the different companies that are here, because it is the Space Coast, we're really not seeing a decline in the market. So
Mm. That's interesting. That's interesting. And that Florida market, for the most part, from what I'm hearing, that's one of those markets that's not necessarily slowing down. It's been known as a retiree state. You got a lot of people that want to go there for that sun, for that good weather, and still work from home or work remote and things of that nature. So I could understand why it's not necessarily seeing much of a decline. Also, that's not the first time that we've heard that. Interesting, interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us, Nicki. I want to get into a couple situations that's happened throughout your career, right? Starting with a situation where you've gotten a client or a lead for a client and it wasn't expected. You know, whether you were actively looking for someone as a lead or a client, or the story would be more interesting if you weren't actively looking. So, you have any stories where you got a lead or a client where it was an unusual, unexpected place or method?
yeah, absolutely. So one of my first real estate transactions, I've been pretty big on social media since I started in real estate. I believe in marketing, and letting people out there know that this is what I do. This is my profession. This is my love. And if people
Mm-hmm.
don't know that you're into real estate, they don't know to call you. They don't know to reach out to
Right.
you. So as soon as I got my license, I did start marketing on social media, just letting people that I'm Facebook friends with, and friends, family, acquaintances, know that I am in real estate, and that I own my own real estate business. So, someone that I had never met before that just knew me from the medical field, which is my prior profession, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have some friends in common. I'm looking for some land. Do you know anything about land? Can you help me?"
Mm.
And it actually turned out to be wonderful. I helped him find a piece of land to purchase to eventually build a house on. And come to find out, his mom was actually relocating from Texas to be close to her granddaughter. And so I helped her
Okay.
find a house here, and she was able to move close to her family.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's interesting because and you said that was basically like a referral from a friend, not a referral from a friend, but you two had mutual friends, correct?
Correct. Yep. He
Yeah.
knew people that worked at the hospital that I used to work at, and just sent me a Facebook message. It wasn't even a phone call or a text. It was just
Mm-hmm.
a Facebook message saying, "Hey, I know we don't know each other, but can you help me?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Absolutely, I can help you." Yeah.
Yep, I love that. I love that. Power of social media too, right? That's literally one of the reasons it was invented. You can reach out to people that you may not have their direct number with, or people you might have mutual friends with, and then you can connect dots that way. So that is a great story about using social media to actually get clients or build leads and relationships. Well put. I like that. So I see that you were part of an event called Hometown Heroes Home Buying Seminar that focused on Hometown Heroes program, the VA lending program, and things of that nature. I want you to talk about exactly what this event is, how often you do it, and why this event is important.
Okay, so I'll address the importance first because I feel like that really should be number one. There's Real estate is ever changing, right? The
Right.
lending world is ever changing. the rules and regulations are changing. The things that are available to people are changing constantly. It's completely fluid. So it's really difficult sometimes, making sure that people have, accurate information, that they have, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So really, coming together with network leaders like insurance. There's, Florida has a big issue with insurance right now, keeping insurance companies in the state. So bringing people together that are network leaders like insurance lenders and,
Mm-hmm.
just some information on the real estate market, et cetera, is, it has always been a passion of mine. And so that's the reason behind it. And it's the reason that I feel like it's important, because knowledge is power. So,
Yep.
if we can offer this knowledge to the community and, and help them in whatever way that we can, then, we're servicing our community.
And I like that too. I like the point that you made about essentially being this is a place where you can actually get real knowledge from real people, as opposed to, learning something from that went viral on social media, something that's just circulating where you don't know if it's really accurate, you don't know the actual source, you don't know, what the motive is. But going to an event like this where you're actually face to face with a professional, you can get that actual confirmation on the information that you may have been curious about. I like that perspective right there, because a lot of information is circulating on social media that may or may not be true. But when you have an opportunity to get real knowledge from a professional, you should always prefer that over that. So I like the way that sounded right there. Have you ever encountered a situation where a property has some type of unconventional feature or layout that may not have been attractive, or or something that interests a lot of people initially, but you kind of had to change the perspective in order to get that home sold, I guess you could say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, it's this real estate, you really, and even lending, you really have to be able to think outside the box. A lot of times buyers will go into a home and, they'll see a paint color that they don't like, or something
Mm,
else, that they don't like, and it's hard to think past that paint color or think past that floor plan. And just, offering information, and vendors, contractors say, hey, it's really not that hard to take a wall down. If that's something that you want to do, I know somebody that is reputable that can help you with that. It's really not hard to change the paint color if you're open to doing that.
yeah.
So just kind of offering some insight and, thinking outside the box sometimes really makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, that's and see. Some people would see something. The paint thing is just like, come on, man. You can paint over this, but sometimes people don't even have that imagination. Some people will walk into a home that will have shag carpet everywhere from the 70s, even on the walls. I've seen that before too. Shag carpet on the walls, and some people will just look at it and be like, "I can't do this house. That I don't want carpet on the walls." It's like, well, you can take this down, right? Like, and sometimes people just don't have that vision, and you have to, as a leader and a professional, you have to guide them into it. Like, yeah, these walls come down. You can put up any type of, drywall, wallpaper, whatever the case may be, paint over it. So that's a great story right there. That's a great story. I'm pretty sure that probably happens a little bit more often than the average person would think. Also,
Absolutely, absolutely.
um,
Even, people are, oh, well, it doesn't have a walk-in closet. I know
mhm.
our house, we had a tiny closet and we built a wall and we made this, huge walk-in closet. So it just,
Ah,
realizing that things like that are
yep.
possible, and they're not always, as expensive as people think they are, especially if it's just, a small job like that. So.
That's a good point too. Yeah, yeah. Some people get turned off by those small closets or small rooms when if you own a home, you can just knock down the wall and expand right there. I like that. Yeah, that's really thinking out the box. Nicki, you posted something that I'm curious about. You said something about Florida has several property tax exemptions. that many people could qualify for. I think this is a great point to actually share that knowledge. So what are some of these exemptions? And then can you describe a time where you helped a client save money with these tax exemptions?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this goes back to, knowledge is power. There are
Mm-hmm.
the property appraiser. So the property appraiser's office is definitely, the best resource to find out what tax exemptions specifically people qualify for. However, the state of Florida does have a homestead exemption, which if you
Mm.
have a primary home in the state of Florida, you normally get a tremendous break on your taxes. And something that a lot of people aren't aware of is if you change your deed in any way, your deed for your house, if you get married or you get divorced and you put a person on the deed or you remove a person from the deed, you actually have to manually refile for your homestead exemption. So it doesn't just
Oh.
automatically refile the next year. So a lot of people don't know that. I've actually had a client who purchased a new construction home, and I helped her sell her home a few years later, but she had been paying um, the higher tax rate the entire time she lived there because the builder didn't tell her, or the title company that closed didn't tell her that she could file for a homestead exemption. So she was paying thousands of dollars more than
Ooh.
what she should have been paying because someone didn't provide her that information. So really
Mm.
just sharing information with my clients. I always remind my clients at the end of the year and at the beginning of the next year to file for homestead exemption because it is due in March. So, just giving them a couple of reminders. Everybody gets busy around Christmas time. It's like Christmas
Yep.
happens and then, the new year happens and then everybody's just full speed ahead, right? So a lot of people do
Right.
forget to file their homestead exemptions at the beginning of the year. So just, sending out a quick reminder for my clients just to make sure, they've done that so that they don't get overcharged.
Yeah. No, that is solid right there. I will tell you because I think we have the homestead tax exemption here in Michigan too, if I'm not mistaken. So I just learned about that not too long ago, and it's a great thing to take advantage of. I didn't know about the whole if you change the deed, then you have to reapply for that homestead. I think that's a great note for people to know also, and yeah, yeah. I mean, just the difference that taxes can make in your monthly payments. And you said they were paying thousands of dollars more than what they could have been paying. That's heart crushing right there. That's heart crushing. So
Yeah.
and then on top of that, it seemed like it was so many different levels where she could have been informed from an agent, from the title company, like you said, but you actually took the time to inform her as the from the agent perspective. But it seemed like it could have been different levels where they could have been informed, but you actually took the time to do that. So well done first and foremost, because anytime you can save somebody money on the bottom line, that's gonna make us all happy. So
Absolutely.
um
Absolutely. Yep. And there's
not all
actually
situations or
some other.
transactions are going to. Oh, please go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So there's other exemptions too. There's certain
Mm,
exemptions for veterans and people with disabilities. So there's definitely more out there than just the homestead exemption, just so people know. So that's where the property appraiser's office comes in, just to they're
yeah.
very forthcoming and very helpful normally with helping people figure out what applies to their specific situation.
Mm, so glad you brought that up. Thank you for adding that, Nikki. That really makes a difference. I want to talk about maybe some of the rough patches that you had to deal with, right? On the other side of the closing table, you have another agent representing another client, the buyer or the seller, opposite of you. Have you had a situation where you had an intense disagreement with the opposing client? And can you talk about how it was resolved?
Yes. So there was actually a situation with a closing where there was supposed to be something that was included with the home. And we get to the walkthrough, and the buyers and myself discover that this specific item that was supposed to be there wasn't there, and it was kind of a big deal. It wasn't something that was easily replaced. The
Mm-hmm.
buyers were moving in that day, and I'm huge on communication, and
Mm-hmm.
so excuse me, I immediately reached out to the other agent, and I always feel like with communication, you can always come to some sort of resolution. And
Absolutely.
the yeah, so unfortunately, the other person didn't really feel the same, and didn't feel like there was anything that was done that was wrong, and was not really just was playing hardball, and
Yeah.
so my buyers, they decided if they weren't going to, try to come to some sort of solution and, work with us, that they weren't going to sign. So that was not a comfortable situation. The title company was very, um, they had to put everything on hold. The buyers put everything on hold, and I had multiple phone calls with the other agent, kind of going back and forth, saying, "Listen, we need to come up with some sort of resolution for the buyer and the seller, because that's our job. That's what we do."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's all about communication, and we're both each side is working for their client, and representing their client, but it doesn't do their client justice if you don't have the ability to negotiate or communicate effectively.
Yeah. Yeah. Communicate. Miscommunication can destroy the nation. It's just simple things like that that can destroy an entire country, a transaction, a relationship. And all you have to do is have open lines of communication, open and honest lines. By the way, that's more important, I should say. So it's unfortunate that you had to go through that, but overall, as a real estate professional, it seems like you managed it well, and in representing your client's best interest. I will say that part. So what about something I saw on your social media where you were recently doing a transaction for some friends, you said, and you said it was a special opportunity. I don't know if you spoke on that earlier already, but what made that transaction special, and what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome in that transaction?
So anytime a friend or a family member comes to me and asks me to represent them during a real estate transaction, it really, I feel like every situation like that is special, just because, as sometimes things don't go right, right? Sometimes, the agent disagrees with the client, or the buyer and the seller don't agree on something. The two agents don't agree on something. There's you know, a lot of communication, and you really have to sometimes go above and beyond to make sure that things don't fall apart, that your client is protected. And so having friends reach out to me and say, "I trust you with this transaction," it just really means a lot to me to have that opportunity to really represent them, and work really hard for them, and show them that I'm gonna see everything through to the end, and make sure you know I fight for them every step of the way.
No, I understand that. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit more complicated to represent your family and friends, and it's a little bit more pressure than it is to represent someone that you don't initially know. and that's just my perspective because, you have to see them more often. I mean, they're, like I said, they're family, they're friends. So it's a little bit more personal. So for you to, take that, manage it and get through the hurdles the way you did speaks volumes. So well done. Well done. Thank you, Nicki. I appreciate you for answering that question. So I want to ask you about safety when it comes to your career, right? Have you ever experienced a moment where you didn't feel safe during a transaction? And if so, how did you handle it, and what preventative measures are you taking moving forward?
Sure, absolutely. That's a great question. So, the real estate industry actually leaves agents and others that work in our industry vulnerable consistently. All the time, just because of the nature of the industry. So we're going into vacant homes, we're meeting with people that we don't know anything about. We've never met before. They're looking for a house, and we're by ourselves. So, there are tips and things that are kind of industry related tips, such as, not parking in a driveway, but parking on the side of the road so that there's,
Mm,
an easy exit. Things like when you open the door for someone, allow them to go in first. Don't let them walk behind you. Safety things like that.
right.
I'm a firm believer, like I said before, knowledge is power. I've taken classes on safety, taken classes on self-defense, and specifically as well, taken classes on, concealed carry, keeping myself safe and,
Mm-hmm.
others
Mm-hmm.
safe, and, knowing how to protect myself and, if anything were to ever come up, not be a victim. So I think that's, I share that with other agents as well in my industry, just
Yeah.
because you don't ever know what's going to happen. There are lots of, unfortunate circumstances and events, and, not everyone has the best intentions.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. Great point. And I'm glad you brought up some of those things that some of those tips for safety for the agents, as far as not parking in the driveway, parking on the street, and you said letting the client into the property first, and then you go in, rather than you go in first and then they come in behind you. All different things that make sense now that now that you actually explain it. Because I mean, from outside looking in, I wouldn't even think of that. But you're right. Like, as agents, you're in a vulnerable position, meeting strangers or people that you may have never met before, and you're going into a property that you may or may not ever been into, a vacant property at that in some cases. So it's very definitely important, which is why I asked that question to share that knowledge also. But you do what you have to do to protect not only yourself but your clients also. So thank you for sharing that, Nicki. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be a guest here on the Closing Table Podcast. We appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule again. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell people how to reach out to you, please do so now.
Awesome, awesome. No, thank you so much. It was really, really nice meeting you, and this has been a really fabulous experience. I love what you guys are doing. I love social media. I love marketing. It's, one of my favorite parts of real estate. So the fact that you guys have this, and it's awesome. So, yes, my contact information, my website, nicole.seagraves@exprealty.com. And my phone number is 321-536-9328. If you are in Brevard County or Indian River County and you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, I am your girl.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much, Nicki. We appreciate that again. And for our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, do us both a favor and hit the like button, please, and thank you. Make sure you also share the content and subscribe for our latest content also. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, please do the same. Give us a like, a 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Hey, Nicki, I'm going to leave our audience with a question before we leave to get their brains turned. So this is for you, audience. Whether they are the agent or the client, why would you prefer not to do real estate business with your friends and or family? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, We'll talk to you next time.